Are we live?
Go for it.
Okay, this is Reignite. I'm Kathy Grant, and I'm here to reignite your passion for music. So I've been dying to say this. Light the fuse, I must reignite. Welcome one and all back to Reignite. I'm Kathy Grant and I am beyond delighted about our guest today. He's a guitarist, a keyboard player and an accordion player, a multi-talented singer and songwriter and a former member of The Damned. So please welcome Roman.
Hello.
Roman, good morning / afternoon.
It's afternoon, definitely.
Ah, okay, we're on the beer. Excellent. Good man, good man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. I'm very well indeed. Is everyone hearing Roman okay? Because we've been having a few sound issues and I'm getting a little bit muffled sound. So I just want to make sure everyone can hear you okay. Can we put in the chat?
Can you hear me?
We're is it me? Because I'm hearing a kind of crackly sound. Gremlins. I'm waiting in the chat. Yeah, Naomi can hear. Okay, we're sounding good. Maybe it's my end. Okay. Anyway, oh, we got one muffled and two that they can hear you. Hopefully, we'll be okay. Anyway, welcome to the show, Roman. Lovely to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's been a long time. I was thinking back the other day and I thought I first met you when I was 18 and that's something scary, like 35 years ago or something terrifying like that.
I don't think I can remember that far back, to be honest.
I keep diaries. That's the only way I can remember stuff. So how's your bank holiday weekend going so far?
Well, every day is like a bank holiday, isn't it? It's been for the last year and a half, really, except we can't do anything. But things are opening up now, and yeah, I'm going to see a few friends over the weekend and take little Jack here, who's the star of the show.
Oh, look, that's Jack, yeah?
That's Jack, yeah. He's a rescue dog from Los Angeles. He's a Hollywood
star. From Los Angeles?
From Los Angeles. Happy Jack, yeah.
Oh, he's good. I'll put him up again one more time, just one more time.
Oh, he's a little boy.
Hello, Jack. Oh, how old is he, Roman?
we don't know because he's a rescue. He must be about 8 or 9, 10, perhaps. I don't know. He's had a lot of teeth taken out.
So hang on, what's the story? What's the story with you coming from Los Angeles?
Well, my wife's from Los Angeles, and she said, if you want me, you have to take Jack as well. So he flew over in business class with her. 11-hour flight, good as gold. Had a nice pee at the airport when he got off, and that was it. Yeah, but he's great. Yeah, my friend.
Oh wow! Oh wow! So is he a proper pampered little pooch then?
He goes everywhere. He's got a little bag and he just jumps in and, you know, people kind of don't notice him for a while and then they go, is that a dog? You know, yeah, he's great. I'll bear him out in case he wants to do some business, you know. Okay. Off you go.
Bye, Jack.
Anyway, we digress. Have you still got
I've just
problems
done that for
hearing
my
me?
team.
Have you still got problems
Sorry,
hearing
say
me?
again.
Have you still got problems hearing me?
I'm really getting muffled.
Are you? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to sort out for you. Can you hear me?
Hi everyone. Yeah, you're a bit muffled, Roman, but it's not too bad. I don't know. I don't know what you can do your end to give it a little bit more clarity.
Let's see. Come on.
I don't know if you can hear clearly, Ash. Maybe I should switch with you on the laptop.
I can hear. Yeah.
Is that
Try
better?
again.
Hello? Is that any better?
Yeah. Let me just try and
Yeah.
do something. 1 second in the mic. Give us a check 1 2, Roman.
Check one, two. Check 1 2.
That is definitely better. Let's just try it.
Yeah.
Give us another check 1 2. Buckle my shoe.
Check 1 2. Buckle my shoe.
That's better. Kath, can you hear that?
Is this a common term in the studio for musicians?
Might be. Anyway, I'm going. It's the Roman show. Can you hear okay, Kath?
I think so. We'll go with it for now. We'll see how we get on.
All right. Bye.
Sorry about that. Gremlins. I'm going in the stocks later, Roman. Anyway, so back to you. Right. So I want to go right back to the beginning, because obviously I know you from Damned Days, but I don't know much about you from before Damned Days. So can you take me right back, go all the way back in your mind to your childhood in Wales? Tell me about life as a child in Wales, what you did, what music you listened to.
Well, I was lucky. I had an older brother who was very much into his music, and he kind of introduced me to things like Cream and Jimi Hendrix, some other stuff which I wasn't so keen about. I remember he introduced me to the Velvet Underground, and he played guitar, and it was his guitar that I learned songs behind his back, because if he found out me playing it, I would have been beaten up. And then one day he heard me play, and he came and he said, "Well, you better have that, he's far better than me." So also I was playing, my dad was musical as well. Yeah, he played the accordion, which is why I picked it up. Apparently when I was really small, he'd be playing it and I'd be kind of crawling all over it and pressing buttons, and so he bought me a little one, and I learned to play on that with a few tutorials from him. Bless him. Yeah, so it was a musical family, Hello? What's up?
It's all right, don't worry. I was listening to you, but I've decided I can hear you a lot better on the headphones on the computer, so we've just switched over while you were talking. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Well, going back to what I was saying, both my parents were Slovenian. They were refugees from the war. And, they used to get together with other refugees who were down in the valleys, who all went there to work in the mines. And so the house is always full of these voices singing Slovene folk songs and having a good knees up. And, we used to join in. And I don't know, there's something about that part of Europe where people seem to harmonize naturally. And so kind of, I don't know if I learned how to harmonize or it was just in the blood. But yeah, So there's music, always music, always music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you know, and then getting introduced to these bands like the Rolling Stones. Well, not introduced to the Rolling Stones. I mean, I was lucky enough to grow up in a great decade, you know, the 60s. The music was great. You had the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and the Kinks and the Animals. I mean, they were the four big ones. And my brother used to stand me on a chair, and, you know, one day I'd have to be Eric Burden or I'd have to be Mick Jagger. And I got the bug. You know, I just loved music, and I thought, well, and Top of the Pops, you know, watching Top of the Pops. Man, I'd love to get on Top of the Pops. Did it. If you dream hard enough, you get there, you know what I mean?
yeah, I was going to say it's hard for people from the UK, we all know about Top of the Pops. But for people from abroad, it's hard to get across the importance of that program and how massive it was at the time.
Well, yes, but I mean, typically stupidly, the BBC wiped all the Top of the Pops tapes, the classic stuff, I think. I mean, you can still see the crap they used to put on in the 80s, and I forget when they finished, 2007, but unlike, say, Beat Club in Germany, they've kept all this archive stuff, and you can watch a hell of a lot of it on YouTube and see performances like great bands, you know, and live. That was the other thing, members minding shit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and so, yeah, Rolling Stones, Beatles. I think I like the Rolling Stones slightly better because they were more naughty, you know.
Yeah.
As well. And then going into the 70s, you know, Christ, the Sweets, David Bowie, Slade, come on, T-Rex. So
yeah.
I think I was born in a really good time, you know, sort of like it.
Yeah.
All that happened in the 70s, and of course, then 76, wow, you know, punk.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, actually, it's probably a good time to put this up, talking about Rolling Stones and everything. So condolences, obviously, to the families of Charlie Watts and Don Everly this week as well.
Another great. I mean, the thing is, I was probably first aware of the Stones when I was 6. So from 6 till, what am I now? You know, older, 64. Charlie Watts has always been there. And now he's gone. And it's sort of like, wow.
I know.
It's sort of like, you just thought he'd be there forever, you know?
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so back to you and back to music. So you play keyboards, guitar,
badly.
And accordion. So of the three, which do you prefer and which do you think you're best at?
Well, I'd say probably guitar, because I spent most time playing, you know, on my musical career playing guitar. But funny enough, most of my songwriting was done on keyboard. And then the guitar would follow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've got a keyboard now because I'm doing some recording myself. It's nice. It's coming back, but you know, the old hands aren't what they used to be, if you know what I mean.
Oh, you poor old devil.
Well, I need to practice, which terrible. Not practicing.
Yeah, we're going to come back to you about the solo stuff a bit later on, actually. You know what I did read, though, was you like garage rock and psychedelic music, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So enlighten me, because I'm not massively familiar with the genres. Who are we talking about? What artists or bands?
Right. Well, this really came about through Paul Bryn, actually, because I was aware of certain songs, but then when I got to know him, he kind of pulled out this and said, "Hey, have you heard this?" And I go, "No, wow," you know. And then when you kind of delve into it, it was very much like a cottage industry. When it was low budget, but they weren't signed to majors, so these people could go out there and do what they wanted, and do all these weird records and long records, and it was very innovative.
Yeah.
It kind of, when I say he opened it up, you've got to remember sort of like the Stones did the Satanic Majesty's Request, which is basically a psychedelic album, and Pink Floyd, Sid Barrett, those were the tip of the iceberg. Below, you've got all of this mountain brilliant stuff, bands that never got anywhere, but they're on a record,
Yeah.
And once you start sort of like, you got to swim through some of the crap. There are some real gems, real gems. So yes, I'm a great fan of that kind of ilk. Sort of like self-made. We'd be playing it in the garage for a week. Let's just make the disc, and then you got this Electric Prunes, Left Bank, so musical, fantastic. 13th floor elevators. The list goes on. Chocolate Watch Band, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So so that was like another journey. That was like another wall. God, so 100 this one,
Yeah. So I was going to come to mention Paul Gray. Obviously we'll come back to him at some point later on. But how did you two meet in the first place?
We met in the front row of a Hot Gossip thing. A lot of people don't know who Hot Gossip were. Hot Gossip, they were a dance group, and I think they appeared on the Kenny Everett show. And they were scantily clad ladies who did sort of provocative dance routines.
Yeah.
And yes, that's how me and Paul met. Because I know you. Yeah, my name's Paul. My name is Paul Gray. These two is watching, and then we got chatting. And it turned out that he lived in a cottage very near Cardiff. And when I said I was in the guitar, I played guitar, and I had a Vox Continental organ and stuff like that. He said, "Well, why don't you come down? I've got some demos. I need a bit of guitar, doing before I kind of present them." Because he was in the band at that point. He was originally Eddie and the Hot Rods, then he was in the band. And so I went down there, and I think we did generals together. And then when he went off on tour, he said, "Look, if you come down and feed my cats, you can use my recording equipment," because I didn't have any recording equipment. He gave me a quick lesson, and so I used to go down there and feed a cat and stay up all night doing demos on his little Fostex, I think it was. Yeah, Fostex. And of course he had all his guitars there, so he said, "Feel free, just use it." So yeah.
Wow. Okay. And anyone that's watching that doesn't know who Hot Gossip are, I suggest you Google them and look up some images. I'd totally forgotten about them.
There's no nakedness involved, which I find slightly better.
Well, it's all a bit. It's all just a bit saucy, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that's a very good description. Saucy, yeah. Saucy.
Yeah, a bit like a seaside postcard. So staying back like white belt, I know I keep moving around here, but when you first left school, what did you do? Any what people would class as real jobs?
Well, my father had built up a business of his own. He stopped working in mines because one day he thought to himself, "Well, this is just going to kill me." I mean, back then it was the mines. It was coming to the end of the boom, if you like, the coal boom. I always remember when I was young. To me, the miners always looked so well, right? And the reason why they always look well is because they had the coal dust on the eyes, so it looked like they had an eyeliner on, and their skin was so pockmarked with coal dust, their teeth looked really white.
Yeah.
It was the opposite. They were really ill. So, like, I digress. My dad had a factory, so in the school holidays, because we never had any pocket money. Yeah, I just realised we never had any pocket money. We had to earn it. I used to work in a factory. So that was a little job when I was in school. I actually went to university.
Did you?
Stupidly studying economics and statistics and accountancy. So my stint in university lasted for 1 year. You had grants in those days, so I had a really good time. My lecturer's notes were, "Who is he? Never, never heard of him." So when that year came to it, I went to work in the factory full time because my dad gave me leeway. I used to work. I used to drive then from Wales to London, go and see a band, and then drive all the way back to Wales after and go back to work. I saw the Dune in the electric ballroom with Lenny on bass on such an occasion. Yeah. And then I got to hear about clubs and Clive, the Doctor, the dead Baron, as he's known. Won't remember this, but I visited Gossips, where I think when he first started, and of course they were playing all the psychedelic music. So I thought, ooh, this is interesting. Yeah. But it's a long way to go out. But I used to do it. I mean, but through that, I met people and I kind of made things happen because I went for it, And but that was the only proper job I had, was working in my dad's place.
Okay. So you're doing your proper job. Not that being a musician isn't a real job. It is a real job. Although times haven't exactly been great for you guys lately. But so from this experience of working, then heading off, driving down, coming back, seeing bands, how did you get into your first band? Was it Missing Men or was it Victimize?
My first band was a cabaret band.
Okay.
And I was making something like £25 a week out of that, which then was a reasonable amount, playing 2 nights a week. Should I tell you the name? That's the question. Yes, I will tell you the name. They were called Lavender Blue. We used to play things like Knock 3 Times, Southern Brothers, Horse with No Name, Tie a Yellow Ribbon. And we used to play all the working men's clubs and British Legions. And those people were so difficult to please that, you'd have 80 grannies playing bingo. They weren't there to hear, some suited up boys playing bad covers. And trying to win them over was difficult. And there'd always be the drunk at the end of the night who would come up and request something that you'd never even heard of. But then I kind of tried to find out these requests because I hadn't heard it. And then sometimes it would be a very good song, so I learned it. And so I kind of learned a lot of stuff, which when I first came in contact with the Damned, came very handy, because I remember Rat betting me 10 quid. He could name 3 songs I couldn't play. And I won the £10.
Well done you.
I don't think he ever paid me up, to be honest. I'll have to tap him up for that.
I was going to say, we'll have to get him on here and then we'll have a word with him about it and see if we can get that 10 quid for you.
Yeah. Good. You won't get it off him. Type bastard.
Well, we can try. So you're nicely leading into Stories of the Damned. So I guess we need to crack on with that, because obviously we've got a lot of Damned people tuning in today. And there are people here I know that may not know the Damned because they're of the younger generation. So we want to introduce them to that music, obviously. So Paul Gray, he was the one that got you into the Damned. Is that correct?
Well, in a way, I guess, it's because not only did he tell him that I helped on his demos. I mean, and General's actually made it onto Strawberries. But he also played my demos. And there was a couple of them. When I say my demos, that's not strictly true, because I was in a band called the Missing Ending, which was we come to that when we started talking about Victimize and Bryn. And they liked them. And then they bought my Vox Continental for the Friday the 13th EP, which I went down and stayed overnight. And that was a real eye-opener, because that was the first time I'd really been in a big studio, and my God, their behaviour was atrocious. Food flying around everywhere, and Captain, and it was crazy. But I thought to myself, well, this seems like fun. And then the keyboard player they were due to have to go on the tour, I think his mum wouldn't let him go. I think that's a true story. His mum wouldn't let him go on tour with the band. And I just got a call, and Rat rang me up, and he said, how do you fancy just playing keyboards for a few gigs? He said, you're free, can you do it? Of course, I said, oh, yes, please. Yeah. And a couple of gigs turned into a permanent position.
Okay. So initially, obviously, you start. So this is 1981. Is that right? You started on keyboards. Yeah. So you were in on keyboards, and then Captain left, and then obviously you switched to lead. How different was it? What was the reaction from people, if there was any change in reaction from people?
Well, some liked it, some didn't. I mean, I wouldn't fault him for that, because I mean, Captain is very, very popular member. Larger than life. Yeah. He was very entertaining. But what a lot of people don't realise is, he left. He wasn't thrown out. He left. That was his decision, and I've actually got on tape from my own dancing machine a message from Captain saying he's leaving, and I suggest you do as well, because I think he just saw trouble ahead. Now, we didn't know what to do. There was talk about getting other people in, and then I think Rat and Dave came round to my place in Fulham, and they said, look, how do you feel about it? Let's just carry on and see where we go, and you go up and take over the guitar. I mean, I had to think about it a while, because big boots to fill. But there again, I think they saw that the direction then would be more sort of like a stage where you have Captain shouting down the mic and cursing Princess Diana and all this, and Dave just standing there, where they would be the main focus of attention. And of course, it worked. It didn't work for me personally fantastically well, because I think signing to a major was a mistake, because not so much because of the commercial success, but the band were pigeonholed by the record company. Whereas if they had been on a smaller label where we had more control, because I hate, I don't like the direction of Phantasmic Voyeur. I think some of the songs are ruined by it, my songs, and same goes for anything. It's all about, click tracks and Bryn, make sure you play with the bass drum, and Bryn, it should be express yourself, like, and rap, drum machine. No, that's not the jam. And that's why the B-sides, I think, that we did then, where we were in control, are far more like the jam than the polished, finished versions. Although a lot of people, we've got a lot more people into the jam, new fans, if you like. So that was a plus. But I wasn't happy with it.
No.
Still not. My point was, Yes, okay, but Roman, stop arguing with the producer. Roman, stop arguing with the session player. Why have we got a session player? I've got two hands, I've got two legs, I can walk to a piano and, and do it. And they're paying thousands of pounds for these people and programming stuff. And I mean, typical example, let me give you an example, right? Grimley Fiendish, right?
Oh, yeah.
We demoed it, right? And, oh, by the way, let me put one argument today about Grimley Fiendish. Clive, I hope you're watching, right?
Go on.
This is the bottom line, and this should be the end of it, right? If you saw Clive on Reignite, it's true. After Gossips, we went to his place and we checked around vocals. And I went back to the studio and I put the vocals on Grimley Fiendish. And as Clive said, he wrote all the good lyrics to that song. That is absolutely true. But I wrote the better one. Let that be an end to it.
Do you hear that, Clive?
Sorry, Clive.
Superb.
Anyway, just go back to Grimley Fiendish and why I didn't like it. We did some pre-production with a guy who programmed stereotypes. And he was putting all these notes in, and it just sounded like a machine. I was sitting there going, what's all this about? And the guy who was producing Grimley Fiendish was Bob Sargent, rest in peace. So, nice bloke. But we nearly finished recording it. And the publisher came down, our publisher, Peter Barnes, and he took me aside. He said, what the fuck have you done to that song? And it was only then I thought to myself, well, yeah, exactly. So then we took the tapes to Elephant Studios and we finished it off ourselves. I put some live keyboard on it, but we had a deadline. We couldn't re-record it because the single was supposed to be coming out and MCA pressurizing. So Bob Sargent is credited with producing it, but he didn't actually produce the final version. And that's a lot of people don't know that.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. See, we're learning today, folks. We are learning today. The thing that really I'm curious about, gobbing. What is your opinion on gobbing? I was looking back through some old gig footage, and there are so many clips when you're standing there playing and there's a great big dangly lump hanging off your arm that someone's gobbed at you. Now, I heard some Americans recently refer to gobbing as a sign of affection towards a band. What is your thinking about being gobbed at, Roman?
Well, there must be Republicans who weren't there to say that. It's disgusting. It's offensive. I mean, to spit in someone's face. I mean, if you walk down the street, you spat in somebody's face, or somebody spat in your face, how is that any term of endearment or respect? I mean, it was a fad that lasted far too long. I mean,
way too long.
Oh yeah, look at Curtain Call in the Brixton, one of the early versions. The one that Rat introduced when he's on that banana llama go bike or whatever it is. And Dave's trying to sing, and it's a serious, piece of music. And all this phlegm, in his hair and all that. It's disgusting. And I'm glad it sort of died out. In fact, I saw once in Sheffield because somebody gobbed right in my mouth. Horrible.
Yeah, as somebody who spent many a happy hour in a mosh pit getting showered in it, I'm totally with you on that one. That is vile. Anyway, let's hope we don't see it again when gigs start coming back. Dear God. So, with The Damned, you were talking a bit, obviously, about songwriting with Grimley Fiendish, but what was the songwriting process like within The Damned? Say with anything, with Phantasmagoria, who was doing what?
Well, Phantom Chords, I think, was most of the seeds, I would say, were coming from Dave and myself. But everyone was involved to a certain extent. I mean, that's why we shared every song equally. One, I believe it makes for a happier band. And two, you know, I didn't do the drums. Rat played the drums, and he added that to the song. So really, by default, he should be getting credit. So yeah, everyone mucked in. Shadow of Love actually came from the riff, came from a little idea Rat had, and I just modified it, and then I found an old demo that we had done that involved Sensible, and I used that, and then I came up with the chorus, singing in the bath one day, in the May month of May, and actually, Captain did sort of mention that to the publisher, and I said, yeah, and that's why Captain is credited also on Is It a Dream, although he had nothing to do with writing that song. So I kind of weighed it up and I went, well, all right, now a piece of that one, but you're not having that, because you're buggered off. So yeah, it kind of worked out. You know. I was being as fair as I possibly could for a conniving Welsh git, as Rat called me.
Did he really? No, that's funny, because I was looking up, and what I read that he called you was a multi-talented person with no ego and a good sense of humour.
No, you didn't say that. I don't believe that.
That's what I definitely read that somewhere. Maybe he sneaked it into my notes.
Perhaps he said, if I say that, I won't give you the £10 or you pay the 3 seconds. I don't know.
I'm just thinking, why is it always 10 quid? Because wasn't that the same thing with Clive? That it was 10 quid he was bet that he wouldn't form a band. There's something to do with 10 quid going around here.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Strange. Perhaps well, probably it was probably a lot.
Probably, it's more than 5 and less than 20, so don't aim too high.
Yeah. Keep it at a level that, yeah.
If I can get 10, I'll be happy.
So, talking obviously about the Damned, and talking obviously about your time in the Damned, it would be impossible to not bring up the wonderful, the fabulous, and now sadly no longer with us, Bryn Merrick, who, for those who don't know the Damned, Bryn was the bassist at the time when Roman was on lead. And Bryn was one of the most adorable human beings I think I have ever met. And I can't actually remember Bryn without having a smile on my face, because you always knew that something was going to happen when Bryn was around. And there are, I have no doubt, many, many stories from behind the scenes about our lovely Bryn. And I would like Roman, if he would, to share a happy memory of Bryn with us all.
How long you got? Bryn, well, yeah. First of all, your description of him there was spot on. I think everyone who remembers dear old Bryn will have a little grin. He was a bubbly character that gave off energy, and he was always enthusiastic. He was always enthusiastic about everything, including, unfortunately, smoking, which probably led to his demise. Drinking. Fun-loving guy. Loved his music. He was a very elegant bass player. He wasn't a powerhouse, but he caressed the instrument rather than, doing a Lemmy on it. And he was very intricate. He was like operating on it, But yes, the amount of scrapes that me and Bryn got. I'll tell you one. Do you want me to tell you the one about the lipstick?
Please tell the one about the lipstick, please.
We were in, I think it was in this country. Anyway, very often after we finished, we carry on drinking, and very often Bryn would come down my room and was left to the ride or whatever. On this particular night, he did come down my room. So I was lying on the bed, the TV was on, we were chatting away, and a few cigarettes, a few drinks, and he was sitting by a typical sort of like dressing table you have in a hotel. And while we were talking, he was, opening the drawers and opening the drawer and pulled out this lipstick. So I was talking, he said, you look at me like, what do you think I look like with a Hitler moustache? So, I remember it was very humid, hot night, and so he drew this Hitler moustache, and he looked at me like, nah. Then he went, what about a Magnum? I said, and it's really plastering on this lipstick. What do you think? I went, no. He said, well, what about a Mexican, what do you think? No. And then we were chatting away, and he was looking at himself, and he started just slowly filling up his face with his lipstick. So he had a full beard, even his neck, and it was like dark purple, his lipstick. But you would appreciate it, didn't you? And then he did the eyes. He drew glasses on. So trying to have a conversation with Bryn, with him looking like that, was practically impossible anyway. So anyway, he got up and went to the bathroom. After about 45 minutes, I thought to myself, Bryn, you all right? You okay? No, not very good. When he came out, it was semi-permanent lipstick. So he still had a purple beard with the glasses. And for a week afterwards, he played a week of gigs looking like that on stage. And yes, it was hilarious. But that was Bryn. He was very funny as well, very witty. I mean, we went to a studio in Wales. It was run by a guy who used to be in a band called Sassafras. And we walked in, and this guy had just upgraded the studio to an 24 track. So he was, a thick tape. And so I said to this guy, I said, oh, great, 2-inch tape now, eh? And Bryn looked at me, and that's a bit short, isn't it?
Oh God, he's just one of those people, isn't he? He just thinking of him, it just makes you smile. I think I was telling you there was one that I had, that one day you were giving us a lift back from one of your gigs, and we were playing I Spy in the van, and somebody actually had to explain the rules to Bryn because he was getting the ump that he wasn't getting a go, and we said, no, you got to get one right first, and he just didn't understand that it had to be something you could see, and that was the meaning of the game, because it was I Spy. So he would just shout random things. I think it was he had a t-shirt on with Tweety Pie, so the thing was TP, and he just started shouting out tarpaulin. And I think it was Dave said to him, well, where's a tarpaulin? He said, well, why do I have to have seen it? Oh, I love him.
Exactly. I mean, we were swimming in a hotel pool once, and lost track of time, and 2 months came and said, what are you doing? You're supposed to be down at the gig now. So I rushed out, got to my room, rushed onto the coach, the van, whatever it was. We were all sitting there waiting for Bryn. 2 months going, what the fucking hell is he? So eventually 2 months goes and gets him, comes on, and Bryn's still soaking wet, right? Where have you been for the last 40 minutes? He said, well, when you left, I got dressed, I picked up my towel, and my hotel key fell into the deep end of the pool. And I spent half an hour trying to swim to the bottom to get the key. I said, why don't you just go to the reception and ask for the spare key? And he was like, oh,
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Oh, love him. Absolutely love him. Rest in peace, Bryn. What a fabulous guy.
I was like 6 inches from it, and I have to come up for air.
Oh my God. Oh dear. So how did he respond? Because obviously when Eloise hit, suddenly you were kind of launched into being everywhere, being like megastar famous. Did things change for you, and how did you cope with it, and how did Bryn cope with it as well?
Well, I think Bryn embraced the parties and the success of Eloise. I think that he was, well, in a way, I think that was bad for him because at one point, a couple of occasions, I had to sit there and say, Bryn, slow down a little bit, you know. And he did. Definitely. I don't. I can't remember it really changing for me because we were there so busy that it was like there was something happening, day after day, and TV show here, flying there, doing this. I mean, I remember one year at the end that Eloise came out, between January the release and April, we'd done 75 flights or something like that. It was just like airport. But it was, I mean, it was nice. Going to Australia, and it was like, it was doing really well over there. And there's a funny story about Bryn, because we got taken out in Sydney Harbour on one of those big, expensive cruisers. They threw a party for us, the record company. And we were all downstairs, and all of a sudden, the thing lurched forward. Everyone fell over. Food flying off, drinks flying off. And what happened was, Bryn had gone up and asked the guy, the captain, years ago, and open it up. So, that was Bryn for you. I mean, I don't know if I should say this, but at that point in time, I think Rat had something on a knife going up towards his nose, and he nearly cut his nose off. That was Bryn. Yeah. So, yeah, he embraced it. Oh, I always wanted to do that. Yeah.
But then obviously outside, I'm going to come back to the dam because we're already, oh my goodness me, I'm so sorry, Ren, we're already over 3/4 of an hour. I'm so sorry. This could go on a little while, folks, because I've got an absolute ton of questions from all the fabulous dam groups on Facebook to come. So we're coming back to the damned, but can I go sideways a bit? Naz Nomad and the Phantom Chords.
Mm-hmm.
So Naz Nomad, number one, whose idea was it? And who picked the names, Sphinx?
Right. Briefly, Captain was busy doing his happy talking around Europe. He was still in England then. And we were kind of sitting at the back, putting our thumbs and let's do a gig. Let's do a gig under another name. Just, keep our hands in, whatever. And it was in Fulham Greyhound, where the band used to do quite often Christmas shows under another name. And so the Nightmares, I thought of the Nightmares, probably because Rat was going to play guitar on one song. So he would have been like, so we played as the Nightmares in the Fulham Greyhound, and I've still got a tape of that group. One day I shall do something with it. And Roger Armstrong was there from Ace Records or Tulip or Big Beat or whatever, and he came backstage after. He said, because he had put they put out Machine Gun Etiquette on Tulip, and he said, why are you doing an album? Why don't you do an album with this? I mean, we were playing like monkey stuff and psychedelic stuff and whatever. So I came up with Naz Nomad and the Nightmares, and I came up with Sphinx Dancing. We called Bryn Buddy Lee, after an amorous woman was chasing him around Europe because his name was Bunny Lee. So we called him Buddy Lee just to remind him of that, because he was always on the run from her. And I think Rat chose Nick Detroit. And so we did it. We recorded it in 5 days, and I knew a guy from, we used to belong to Alison Wonderland, see another connection there. He was a journalist for Sounds, and also a musician. He was in a band called Nurse with Wound. Now, a lot of people down front wouldn't have heard about that, but they're quite revered in dance, not kind of disco, dance music. And I'd done something, he said, look, I'll write an article on it, you know. Great. You scam it. And one thing led to another, and then me and Dick, I've got a poster up there with of the front cover. You've got the front cover of Sounds, me and Dave on there, aged. So we looked like 50 or something. And
oh wow.
Like, give Daddy a nice Cindy. It was very weird, sort of walking into the underground station and seeing what I would look like, or what they thought I would look like in 40 years' time. Staring down at me. And it was so funny because after the photo session, Dave looked like a tramp, right? He put the tube back, and Dave was sitting on Dave was sat down in the tube train, and this woman looked at him and moved. It was hilarious. But yeah, so that's the story of the Naz Nomad. And
so again, anyone that's watching who is a damn devotee will know who we're talking about. But anyone who doesn't, Google Naz Nomad and the Nightmares and look for the album Give Daddy the Knife Cindy, because it is an absolutely brilliant album. To this day, I still love that album. You never did anything live though, did you? It was just that album and that was it.
Oh no, we did loads of Naz.
Did you? God damn.
Yeah.
Where the hell was I?
I don't know, but no, we did a lot. We almost did the whole tour of the UK. That way around, the whole tour, 6 or 8 dates, and yeah, no, but it was a blast. No pressure, you see. There was no pressure with the songwriting. There was no pressure with having to. I mean, we were. I wouldn't say we were promoting. I mean, we were just bloody having fun, you know.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was good blast. You know. Dave with the wig on and all that, you know.
That was amazing.
You go walk about before a gig and nobody recognised it. You know, you loved it.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, so bye Naomi. Thanks for tuning in. See you later, love. And then, of course, we've got the other spin-off from The Damned, which was the Phantom Chords, which, again, I just think an absolutely incredible band, but strange because there was only ever the one album. That was 84, I think. Went to lots of Phantom Chords gigs, but the album only came out in something like 95. So is there a story as to why that took so long? Who was the Phantom Chords idea? Tell me more.
The Phantom Chords wasn't a spin-off. Dave decided he didn't want to carry on with that. So we had a meeting, and he said, well, he asked me to go with him and Bryn. So we had a meeting, and he explained it to Rat. And I said, well, what are you two doing? You know, to me and Bryn. And he said, well, Dave's asked us to do this with him. And it was a very difficult time, right? Because we'd just been dropped by MCA. We weren't a happy bunch. We spent so many years together. Everyone had partners, kids, even then. And so, you know, that kind of fancy the second one, which in effect was true, although it wasn't. But that's what it, if you look at it in thing that day, yes. Okay. I think I don't know. It's always hard to look back. Did I make the right decision? But Dave, notoriously, is a little bit unreliable. He wouldn't turn up for things. We were actually recorded a whole album that was never released. He kind of signed a deal. I don't even know what the deal was. The original agreement was it was going to be 50-50. Never came to life. We recorded an album with Bill Price in Wessex Studios where they actually recorded Machine Gun Etiquette. That was never released. I don't know why. Consequently, later on, Ace again, Roger Armstrong, put out another album, which is done in Torab Studios in East London. I had all this old gear and stuff. But, it's difficult. Going from The Damned to playing with the Phantom Chords, from playing like Hammersmith Odeon to the Duchess of York in Leicester or Leeds, and not getting paid that much, it's difficult. So when it didn't work, I think Dave realised he had to cut his losses, and he rejoined a new Damned with Alan Shaw, I think, who wrote most of the songs, and the guy from the Immortal Army, I can't recall his name now, on bass. So he went back to that, and me and Bryn just left out in the cold. So it wasn't a spin-off, it was a totally new project.
Okay.
Outside of that.
Okay.
Sadly.
It is.
But it was, there was some good stuff, some good songs, it was sort of
there was some amazing tracks.
A challenge, to play a guitar with not much distortion on it, so you've got to be a bit more precise and all that. But it is what it is,
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people say, "Oh, you hate Damon." I don't hate Damon. What I dislike in anyone, if you relying on someone, they have to be professional and not turning up for a gig when people have bought tickets and you've travelled from London to Leeds with a band. I think it was Leo Suave, whose singer was a good friend of mine, and he didn't turn up for the gig. And the other thing is, he never had a note. It was never an explanation. And that was the final nail in the coffin. I thought, well, how can you work with someone like that? So I don't hate him, but I just don't agree with his approach, professional approach. That's all.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. So again, sticking with The Damned though, videos. Now there was an interesting time with videos for The Damned, and I had a couple of questions about those videos. The first one is Gigolo. Now, if anyone hasn't seen the video for Gigolo, it involves kind of floating around on strings with umbrellas and teddy bears falling out of the sky. What in the name of hell was that about? Good answer. We'll move on.
Well, the song is like, it's obviously a reference to Syd Barrett's Good Law, right? The thing is, someone said to me once, "I'm the new Syd Barrett," right? And I thought to myself, it always stuck with me, and I thought to myself, there's only one Syd Barrett. You should be Syd, whatever you are. But not, you can't say you're the new Syd Barrett. And that song, the lyrics are all about people who I thought should have done the job. And Roger Moore is Saint Good. Sean Connery was James Bond, as far as I was concerned. So it's like it's a reference to that. The video was made by, I think, the same guy who made the Alone Again All video. And that was his idea. He just said, I just want to make this as crazy as possible. Go and pick yourself a costume. So Dave's, he's a teacher. That's Napoleon. Bryn is a fox hunter. See, or something like that, I think. And I'm the obvious undertaker. But I'll tell you what, though, it was a blast making it. It was fun.
It looked like an absolute scream. Even now in my head, I can see Bryn kind of swinging around with the wires attached to him, kicking his legs in the air, having a lovely old time.
Exactly. That particular video, yes, we were drunk.
Aha. Okay. And how about your appearance on The Young Ones? Do you remember when you did Nasty on The Young Ones? It appeared to me that several people looked really plastered on that.
Well, that was really cool actually to go onto that show because it was very, very popular with the kind of people I think that damn attractive. But it was because they chose the bands who went on there. Actually, the cast. Yeah, many on there did. Maybe had the Madness. But the whole thing about that song was they wanted us to do Help, right, which was the B-side of the Rose. And Captain was at me. He went, no. Bloody Paul McCartney's got enough money. I've got a song for that. And I think we were shooting it in the actual episode in about 2 weeks or something like that. And they sent us the script, which is, I've still got somewhere, I think, which is even funny to read, So Captain was living in Croydon and he said, yeah, come down and we sort you out. We sort the song out that I've got out. So I went down there. He was lying in bed watching the cricket, as he always did. I said, right, well, what's the song then? He went, I haven't got one. Oh, luckily, I remember I had the music to nicely written, and we were trying to work it out down there, kind of. And he went, yeah, that's good. And I remember I had to get a cab home because Croydon was notoriously difficult to get to anyway, and it was very late, so I had to get a taxi. And on the way there, I wrote Catch, my horror taxi. I fell in love with a video nasty. And then me and Dave finished the rest of the lyrics. We recorded it ourselves. And in actual fact, we weren't drunk at all. We were drunk afterwards because we went out. We were lucky enough to go out for a curry with the great late Neil. He came, Adrian Edmondson came, and Nigel Planner, who was Neil. Alexis Siri didn't come over, the straight guy Mike. We went to an Indian restaurant called Collins in Notting Hill, and by the end of the night, Adrian Edmondson was standing on the table singing New Roads and all sorts of stuff. It was great. It was a brilliant night, and we still had the makeup on. That was cobwebs.
I mean, that was an iconic show at the time. I didn't realise they actually picked the bands who were on then. That's quite an honour, to be honest with you. Yeah. What a show that was! What a show!
I think the reason why one of them said, "Yeah, I used to be chairman of the students' union and so blah blah blah, and I tried to book you, but you were too expensive, so now I got you on the show." So I think that might have been. Anyway, yeah, I don't.
All right. So I'm going to have one more question about videos. Mm-hmm. Anything. Now, if anyone hasn't seen the Anything video, do not watch it if you've been eating or drinking, because you probably will end up feeling pretty nauseous at the end of it. Is it true with that video that people ended up being violently sick? If anyone hasn't seen it, pretty much what it is there's a big table spinning around with food being thrown everywhere, food being eaten, drink being drunk and thrown around, and people falling all over the place. So, was anyone sick?
It was a bit like the meal with the young ones. No one was sick, but we were drunk. I think, yeah, otherwise, some of the, I mean, you know the bit where you've got a swinging chair, and that was high. That was high. And,
was it really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was like a fairground ride. And so you've got the table spinning around. It does give you the effect that it's going faster because the camera's going the other way to the table, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. But it was, I mean, if somebody had fallen off there, some serious damage could be done, yeah. And I think one of the papers that said that I fell off and that there's, a bit of publicity. I said, why does that have to be me? Why couldn't Bryn fall off?
Yeah, click on someone else. Oh, I always had the vision that there was projectile vomiting going on after that video. But again, it looked like another one that was a hell of a lot of fun to make.
It was, yeah. But it was weird. There were bits and pieces that we edited out. And then they kept it saying, like, when Matt's got the knife and he's doing this between his fingers. And he kept that in. He's like, yeah, but what? Censorship.
There's a reel of outtakes somewhere that should be dug up and released.
Yeah.
And also that era, I did have, before we move on, because pretty soon we've got to get on to questions because we are badly overrunning. Have you got time to stay, Roman?
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Okay, we'll keep going then. The whole style of dress that came about at the time of Phantasmagoria was obviously very gothy, frock coats, etc., etc. And again, I'm making an assumption. It's been a long-held assumption, so you can either confirm or deny. Was that Dave's idea for everyone to dress like that? Was it a record company thing? And how did you all feel? Because for a lot of you, that style of dressing was not your normal everyday dress.
I think it wasn't a Dave didn't force us to do anything. I think it was a conscious decision by us collectively that we should all have one direction. There should be some unity, because the whole thing like why we didn't get the CBS deal was Captain Stewart of the band. He was like, clown is not the word. Colourful character spouting off while Dave Vanian, who's the focal point, is like standing around waiting for him to stop. So if Captain has left, right, now what are we going to do? I'm not going to start spouting off and taking my clothes off and, going for the outrageous. What can be a strong, powerful, forward-looking image for the damned? And I think it's reflected even down with the whole photos on Phantasmagoria. The whole kind of thing was like, yeah, this is, people call it a Gothic masterpiece. I agree with that. Because, you've got the big organs and the Sanctum Sanctorum and blah, 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 blah. And I think we had to have an image to back that up. If you were playing, it wouldn't have worked if, at the beginning of Sanctum Sanctorum, and then you've got some guy, check suit with full tie spitting water or something, it wouldn't have worked. We needed that direction, and we needed to back that up, even with the image. And you can still play New Roads, you can still play Curtain Call, So yeah, it was a conscious decision.
Okay. Now you just gave us a little bit keyboard there. Don't suppose you've got a guitar nearby, have you?
Oh look.
Oh. What if you could perhaps at some point give us a little bit of a strum? So I know it's been much requested on Facebook. Oh, that was pure heaven. Thank you. Happy days. Very happy days.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So, having your guitar there, I would assume then that you are currently working, and I have heard rumours about a new solo album. Is this true?
The new solo album is in the queue. Because at the moment, the project I'm working on is something I came up with years ago and never got round to. And when all this horrible COVID business came along, we came into lockdown. Obviously, we had to stay indoors and stuff. So I thought, look, what am I going to do? And I kind of found this program and you can do it on computer. And the actual project I'm doing Do you remember Bowie's album called Pinups? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where he,
Yeah.
it's the one with him and Tweedy on the front, right? And he
Yeah.
does all covers, his favourite covers. Now, I'm doing version. It's not just covers, though. I'm calling pin oops, right? Like
Okay.
oops. And what it is songs by an artist done it in the style of someone else. So, for instance, I've got Your Cheating Heart by Hank Williams,
Yeah.
being done by the Jesus and Mary Chain. Pale Blue Eyes by the Velvet Underground, done by Scott Walker. Where Was London, done by Lou Reed. So it's a song that you recognise, but it's done in the style of someone else. So it's a lot of fun.
That sounds good. So what stage are we at with this at the moment?
50% done. 50%
Okay. And when it's done, are we likely to see you out anywhere performing any of this? Or are we likely to see you out with Dirty Water?
Probably I won't be doing live shows. It's not I'm lazy. It's a young man's game, you know. So I'm done with that, I think. It should be out. I'm only doing 2,000 albums, vinyl.
Okay.
Whoever wants one, I will assign it personally to them. And then my solo album will follow. Follow up to Papa Loco. Dirty Water. Well, we only play twice a year, usually on St. Patrick's Day and one Christmas show. That's good fun. Get your accordion out, your squeeze box, drink plenty of Guinness, and
nice.
Try to outdo the pose, which is impossible.
So Papa Loco, that's 2004. So that's what, 17 years ago now.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry, am I? Yes, really.
I was going to say you're almost as bad as my husband, because you know about my husband's band, don't you? The Stereotypes.
Yeah, for 40 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Hold on a minute. Let me get him 1 second. Where is he? There he is.
Oh, here I am. I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat. But hey, hi Roman, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's a good job we're not in the same band.
Well, yeah, it takes a long time. No, I'm really enjoying the interview. It's absolutely fantastic. For those who don't know, my band, The Stereotypes, we did one single and one gig in 1979, had a row and split up, and then 42 years later, we released our debut album. So we are the world's laziest band, but we're now working on our difficult second album, so probably somewhere around 2062 that should be coming out. Oh dear.
Brilliant. Yeah, it doesn't seem like
thank you.
That's enough of that.
The thing is, though, I think he'd agree, right? That it doesn't seem like that long ago. I thought, Papa Loco came out about 5 years ago.
I know. It's like where the hell does time go? As we're getting older, it just seems to be going faster and bloody faster, doesn't it? But come on, I think he's up for a Guinness World Record for the longest time between an EP and an album, and also a record for the world's laziest freaking band. But there we go. Apparently, the album is out now if anyone wants to buy it.
They probably do a gig and have a row and split up again,
More than likely, knowing them. So I do have to now interject with my own personal question from my show that I ask every guest, although you are going to be my inaugural guest for it changing slightly. The first part of the question is, do you like Jaffa cakes?
Yes, but I avoid them because once you've had one, you can't stop.
Yeah, it's like the whole packet, isn't it? You think, they're not much. They're only little. They're only 40 odd calories, and then you just, you ram the lot in. Do you have a preferred biscuit?
I don't know. I mean, I think I've had some forced on me in the past. I remember once I went round to Dave's house to do some writing, and we watched something like 6 hours of Munsters episodes back to back and went through about 4 packets of chocolate chip cookies.
Sounds like a fun evening. Why not?
Not a lot of writing was done. But, it was like, let's just watch another one. Let's watch another one.
And then
bring some more biscuits out. More cookies.
And then to tag on to that, I have one other question, which is, what is your favourite cheese?
Oh, I love cheese. Any cheese.
Any cheese.
Any cheese. Love it.
What, even the veiny blue ones?
Even the veiny blue ones.
Really?
Yeah, love it. My wife cannot find it, but I love it.
Oh, wow. I'd go for any cheese, but do you prefer to eat your cheese with crackers, or do you have it with bread? And do you like pickle?
I like it with port.
Oh, a good strong cheese with a glass of port. That sounds like that's this evening plan then.
Couple of grapes as well.
Nice, bit of grapes. Yeah, I like it. Okay, and then before we move on, because we're going to have to move on to viewer questions, but before we move on, there is one other standard question that I ask all my guests with varying degrees of success. Do you believe in ghosts, and do you have any spooky stories?
Me personally, I don't believe in ghosts. I believe there's something, I wouldn't call it a ghost, I mean, there's energy, I guess. Spookiest thing I ever experienced, yes.
Go on.
We were down in Rockfield Studios, and being a dam, I mean, we used to have a late dinner. I think me and Dave were the only red wine drinkers, and they had like a 2-liter bottle of red wine. So basically, I had a bottle of wine each. And we used to record late into the night, core engineer. And then we finished one session, and I remember I walked up to this area, and these doors opened up. It was beautiful view. There was a mist, there was a fog. And all of a sudden, came towards me was a figure in a cape. And it was raining. Frightened the life out of me. So that's the spookiest story I've got to tell you. For fuck's sake, what are you trying to do? He said, just take a little walk. And then, the white face comes out of the mist.
Excellent.
I nearly crap myself, I tell you.
Right. On that note, right, if everyone can see at the moment, because at this point, usually when I have a guest, get that off the screen, you Mr. Stereotypes. I'm talking. One moment. Right. Across the bottom of the screen, you can see scrolling various other channels down there that are our sister channels to this show. So we've got In the Trenches, which is run by our friend Ryan Roxy. So I'm going to shout that out. He's moved to Fridays now, and he has a mystery guest coming up this Friday. We have no idea who it is. The other shows we're scrolling across the bottom there are Pink Sock, our friend Mike Usnick, who has a guest on. Let me just have a look. Eric 13, who is apparently from Sex Slaves and Combi Christ. And he's on Monday at 6 UK time. And then we have our friends, The Voice It Show, who have Stu Ham, who is an American bassist. And he's going to be on Thursday the 2nd at 5 p.m. And I also want to thank Kanak, who is the co-host of The Voice It Show, who is my technical advisor and sorted out a lot of my sound issues for me today. So thank you, Kanak. Right. That being done, we now have to move on to burning questions. So I asked, we have some amazing responses from people. We have damned groups all over Facebook, and I posted in there and ask them, do they have any questions to ask you? All of the Damned Facebook groups are listed in the show notes, as well as all these programs that are tickering along the bottom. So it's time for your first. Are you ready for your first question, Roman?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. Question number 1 from Ishrat. Do you speak Welsh? If not, do any of your family speak it, and do you understand them? And do you speak any other languages?
I don't speak Welsh. In school, it was mandatory to take 2 years. I just found it very, very difficult. I speak a bit of German. I speak a bit of Slovene, obviously with parents' connection, and that's about it. And yeah, but Welsh is very difficult. I mean, I regret it because it's just another feather, in the cap. You could, should have perhaps, but it didn't really interest me then. And it was, like I said, it was very difficult pronunciations and stuff. But,
Yeah.
That's it. German and Slovene, and a bit of English.
A little bit of English.
Yeah.
Well, we were living in Spain for 3 years and trying to learn Spanish. I gave it a bash, but can't say it went that well. Let's be honest. Right, the next.
You learn everything from a book.
We have a gentleman who has a 2-part question for you. Dave Tomato. Dave Tomato is asking, can you tell us about your new solo project and how to get hold of your old music? So we've talked about the solo project. How to get hold of your old music? Where are we looking? Spotify? Apple? Can we buy CDs?
You can get it on Spotify. CDs. Well, the whole thing about Pablo, I want to do an album in someone's bedroom as a challenge. So this guy had a little recording setup. Lovely guy called Mark Elliott. And I recorded it, and he did the CDs, and he was selling, I can't remember on what. And he kind of said, "Oh, I've got some money for you." And right then I said, "Buy it something." So I'll have to find out and let you know, Kathy, what the people know,
right.
if it's still around.
Now, people can stay tuned, and then on future episodes we can let people know about that. We'll add you in on future episodes.
But you can hear it on Spotify. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh, and in terms of you, if people want to follow you, we were having a chat about this. It's pretty much only Facebook with you, isn't it? You don't do the Twitters, the Instas, the this, the that, the TikToks, any of that stuff.
Well, social media is such a bloody, I don't know. I made my mind up about it. I mean, it's got its advantages. Hence, I managed to get back in touch with my wife, Marina. Yeah, so I keep all my eggs in one basket, basically. I mean, when I do go on it, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, it can be quite. It can take over hours of your life, quite frankly. I think you're a wise man. Dave Tomato. Dave Tomato has a part 2 for you. We've sort of touched on this already, I think. Now, what were your relationships like with the Damned? Is Dave unreliable? Well, I think we've mentioned that. And did Rat ever punch you?
Yes, yeah. It was in Denmark. He was the happiest band at that point in time, and it was Bryn was having a fight with that, and I tried to step in, and I got hit by that. But handbags.
Oh, really?
Handbags had gone. All forgotten the next day. Next day, I had a little tap on the window, and then I thought, I'm not very popular in here today. Let's get this record done, get out this fucking hellhole, you know what I mean? In the middle of nowhere, putting us in the middle of nowhere, When we started recording that album, it was a crate of beer, and it went, obviously, the first night, especially with Bryn there, and he said, we need more beer. Oh, no, you get one of them a month. Hold on, you don't even plan to be here a month. So we want one of those a day, you know. So the record company reluctantly supplied us with beer every day. But that's what happened there. It was
Okay.
that was it was going through a lot of shit. Personally, I think as well as the Damned, and it just boiled over, and I think some drugs were involved, and him and Bryn started fighting, and I stepped in and took a punch, black eye, but nothing serious.
Okay.
But he knows I owe him one.
All right.
But it's kind of mellowing as I'm getting older. All right, you know,
We're definitely going to have to get him on here at some point.
yeah.
We definitely need to. Right, Barry, who...
It'll be entertaining, but
So Barry, who has been very helpful. Barry has an absolute ton of Damned Facebook groups, and he's a font of all knowledge about the Damned. And he has sent us a couple of questions for you. So what do we have? Any chance of a new solo album? Okay.
right.
When is the Phantom Chords box set coming out? And are there any unreleased MCA third album demo recordings that could see the light of day? Okay. Over to you.
Well, I covered the solo album. That's after Pivot. I've got no idea about Phantom Chords because I think that's all Dave's stuff. I've heard that I think Ace Records are releasing the second one on vinyl. I don't know if it's out yet. So I don't know anything about a box set. I mean, it'd be a very small box, wouldn't it? Let's face it, it'd be a matchbox. Yeah, and it'd be like one of those massive boxes that you open it up and there's a smaller box. And there's
Russian doll.
I've got reams of tapes of stuff, outtakes, unfinished songs, rehearsals that I know nobody else will have because I recorded them. And I'm not in the habit of getting £10 to give to someone to put it out on YouTube. So one day I'll have to go through them and transfer them digitally because they start to deteriorate. And then anything that's, I think, deemed interesting to any Damned fan or anybody interested, I'll make it available. And why not? You know, is it something of interest to them? Why not have it? I mean, the whole thing about bootlegs, right?
Yeah.
They rip off, right? You know, in the old days, you know, the record fairs, you'd have guys, there were millions of cassettes of bootleg, you know. My thought is this: if whoever buys it thinks they've got value for money, all well and good. But if they buy something, take it home and it sounds shit, that I don't think that's good. I don't agree with that. But if it's good and they're willing to part with money, okay, the bootleg is going to money, but help them stop it. But if the product is good, it's worth the money. Have it.
Yeah, totally agree. Hello, Barry part 2. All right. Was the track Rosemary's Tears completed as, according to the girl from Strawberry Switchblade, she remembers contributing vocals on the recording? Rosemary's Tears? Do tell.
That was a working title. That actually is on Papaloka, the finished, and it's called All the Angels. And it's on Papaloka. But she came down, she put some very nice vocals on there. Very, very pretty, charming Scottish girl. Yeah, very good. Yeah, nice sort of session. It was not, you know, it was nice to look at someone pretty and say, bring him back. And I won't say Dave because he's now there.
Okay. Okay. Andrew Johns, when are you bringing out your new album? Okay, there's a hell of a lot of interest in this new album of yours. This is going to be well received. Where can I buy it? Okay, so I think we've pretty much gone through that already. Is it a dream?
I'm going to do the same thing with my follow-up album. I don't see the point. I don't like CDs anyway. I don't see the point in streaming because, you know, the artist gets ripped off. They get such small, you know, payback.
Yeah.
So that'll be on vinyl as well, a limited edition, because you can always repress it if old Jack wants to borrow, you know, a copy down the road for them. So vinyl, but that should be out by February.
By February.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. We'll keep an eye out for it. And what's the second half here? Is it a dream? Is it true it was about your father? Can you explain this brilliant song? So is that true?
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah. My father bought a piano. He used to be at the bottom of the stairs in our house, and every morning I used to sort of like slide down the banisters and just sit on the piano and annoy the whole family and waking them up by playing. And one of the riffs was in a Dream. And I wrote the lyrics on the side by the time my dad died, which was coincidentally 1981 when I was away on the first tour. Yes, it's not like that.
Oh, well, I did not know that. Okay. Cheryl Faithful says, what was your favourite single and album to play on with the Damned? Were you a punk rock fan before you joined? And if so, who did you listen to?
My favourite album was Strawberries, because I thought that was more Damned than Phantasm Drawing anything. We had a lot of control on that, but I enjoyed playing on that hell of a lot. Even though I'm only credited with doing keyboard solos, due to the fact that Sensible wanted to get into the Pope as a keyboard player. You know, that man is ego has no bounds. That's my favourite. I think single-wise, I think probably Child of Love, because it was different. I loved the video. And yeah, Child of Love. Were a punk rock fan? Yeah, my cousin introduced me to the Damned.
So who were your favourite punk band? Apart from the Stereotypes, obviously.
Well, I can't really say about a Stereotype because I missed their one gig.
There'll be more. We'll invite you.
I've been waiting 40 years for this fucking album as well. With the time, I mean, that short space bit of time, you know, 76. I mean, I like the New York Dolls in them, they were a little bit before. Ramones, obviously. Damned, I mean, I was a fan. You actually got to join the band you were a fan of. That, you know, doesn't happen to a lot of people. To a lot of people. The Clash, love the Clash. Best Cops, love the Best Cops.
Yeah.
You know, Shelley's songwriting, fantastic. The Clash's attitude, and they always look good, Clash and let's face it.
Yeah.
Style.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much into the kind of more oi bands, the early stuff. Magazine, alright. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said Strawberries, because obviously the name of this program, Reignite, obviously came from Ignite from Strawberries. So there we are. So I actually got the chance to say, like the fuse, I must reignite today for the first time ever. Right, on to put all Archie. I have no idea why he spells his name like that, but there we are. If you were asked to return to play keyboards with the current lineup, would you accept? But what about Monty?
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, they've got a keyboard player. You know, he does a really good job. He's better dancer than you as well, apparently.
He's quite lively on stage, our Monty. He's quite a character.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Damned now are what the Damned are now, and the Damned then is what the Damned did then.
Yeah.
No, when we did the final Damnation, you know, the first of the last gigs ever. I wasn't very happy with it. I thought, you know, I think Brian coming back, and Brian wouldn't play any of my songs and whatever. So no, I wouldn't come back and say, hey, come, no. What is the people play and good luck to them, That's my
Yeah. Well, it's funny, when we talk about the Damned earlier, me and Ash, and I said, to me, the Damned are like Doctor Who. Do you know what I mean? You had I watched Doctor Who, and it was Tom Baker and John Pertwee, because they were the doctors at the time. So for me, the Damned is always you and Bryn. But for Ash, he was earlier. He remembers obviously the Brian James era. So I think, I'm gonna liken the Damned to being Doctor Who, and you're my Tom Baker in that case. I don't know how that feels, but there we are. On that note.
bit more Patrick Troughton,
I think. Right, Bruce. Here's Bruce. Bruce says, kind of touched on it. Who were your favourite band growing up, and who influenced you to pick up a guitar and start playing?
Rolling Stones. Kinks. My favourite guitarist at that time, I think, was Brian Jones.
Okay.
In the Rolling Stones. Because he was like innovative, he was experimenting, playing a sitar, if you listen to some of the Get Off My Cloud, it's just Kinks, funny little riff. And my favourite riff of all time is The Last Time by the Rolling Stones. Fucking genius.
Yeah, amazing song. Amazing song. Wayne, we got a couple more. We're almost there. Okay. If you could choose, crikey, if you could choose a reunion with the Damned, the Phantom Chords, or Naz, which would you choose? And does it annoy you that only Welsh people pronounce your name correctly? All right, okay. I'm going to say Jugg. I'm going to say Jugg, and then I'm going to say Jugg, and then you're going to tell me about your name, I hope. Welsh people?
Jugg is means south in Slovenia. And if you remember Yugoslavia, which was a country made up of all like Serbia and Bosnia and Croatia, Jugg, southern Slavs, Yugoslavia. So, unfortunately, my parents, in their wisdom, gave me the Christian name Roman. So you got a Roman Jugg and not a Grecian urn. So, and I don't think the Welsh do pronounce the name properly. I was always called Jugg. So, only so people will say, "Oh, it's you, isn't it?" With a bit of know-how and a bit of knowledge, they kind of suss it out. It's Jugg. It's Jugg. Well, call me Jack if you want. I don't care.
I just thought when I introduced you, I'd just say Roman because it was easier that way. So, how about the other half there then? If you could choose a reunion with the Damned, the Phantom Chords, or Naz?
Oh, well, I think, they're doing a reunion of the original lineup, which your other half is probably more interested in than I am. I did see them. 75 quid, go and see that. Whew, that's a bit steep, isn't it? Should be 10 quid.
You're obsessed with this 10 quid.
When are you going to send me my fee of £10? But, no, my point is this, right? There's no point in doing a Damned reunion when there is a Damned, right? A current Damned.
Yeah.
I don't think so. If there wasn't a Damned, if they had split up, and someone rang me and said, "Oh, obviously not all the original members, but would you be interested in going out and playing Phantasmagoria, for instance, the whole album?"
Yeah.
If the Damned didn't exist, I would be interested. But the fact that they do exist, I think it's stepping on the people who are in there now, like your Monties and Paul Gray, who's back in them now. Because now he's in that lineup, So good luck to you, carry on, do what you want. Phantom Chords, same thing. There has been an alternative Phantom Chords in America when Dave was over there. So, no, you've changed it. I am no longer the Phantom Chord because you had somebody else doing my bit. So why should I go back? Naz, doesn't matter. I don't think there's been another Naz Nomad because my fucking bad. So
Yeah.
that could be a possibility sometime. But no, damned or fucking confident.
Okay. All right. And oh, he's back again. Mr. Stereotypes back. How did the hardcore audience react to the band's change of direction in the early 80s? Okay. So we're back again talking about this whole Doctor Who thing of whether it was that era and then it was that era. How did people react when it changed pretty dramatically?
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy who's very active, Kevin Shepherd. I mean, he remembers the first band, whatever. He was a fan when we kind of went in one direction. I think some of them liked it, some of them didn't like it. Probably for the same reasons I didn't, because the records didn't sound like the band. You know, they're competing with other big chart acts using, you know, the latest technology at the time and trying to make it sound like something else. So hardcore fans who turned away from the Damned for that reason, I think it's justified. But
Yeah.
the live shows were always different. The live shows was always the Damned. It didn't sound, Sweet of Dreams doesn't sound like, when we played it live, it doesn't sound like it does on Fantastic Voyeur. It sounds like the Damned plays Sweet of Dreams, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. But, I mean, I didn't notice any drop in audience numbers when we started with our captain. In fact, we increased. So.
Okay. And his name did come up earlier. So here we have Clive Jackson, the Doctor. Tell us about
the
camping Cornwall. The Dead Baron's back. Tell us about camping Cornwall, walking and rain. Right, off you go.
How do you call himself the Dead Baron? He's got 4 kids. There's nothing Dead Baron about him. That kind of Baron. No. Well, when I got friendly with Clive, and we were actually we were doing demos, I think, for Phantom Chords. He said to me once, he said, you're not looking after yourself, you look terrible. And I was like, stick thin, and I wasn't eating well, and probably drinking too much and staying up and worrying about writing and stuff. He said, me and Wendy are going out the corner, come down with us. He marched me off and made me buy walking boots and socks. And we went round there and it pissed on. But we had a great, I think, a week hiking every day, and then camping. Poor Wendy in like one tent, me one side, Wendy in the middle, Clive there, and we were talking over, trying to get some sleep and stuff. But it certainly revitalized me, and I had a wonderful time. They were wonderful people. You kind of looked after me, and I still appreciate that. It was Wendy and Clive. They could have their own show. It was hilarious. Yeah, it was good. It was a good time. A very good time.
Fantastic. And I do believe that Clive has rounded off our questions for us. Yes, he has. So, any more updates or things we need to know about what you're going to be up to? What can we expect from you? When are we going to see you? When are we going to hear the album? Let's round it all up again before we go.
Right. Well, the first project, pretty much, like I said, is 50% done. So that should be out before the end of the year. Like I said, it's going to be a limited edition album, vinyl, proper record, things you can look at and hold, and you don't need a magnifying glass to look at, and you don't have to go on a computer. Just get yourself a turntable. Everyone should have one. That's before the end of the year. For hopefully February. Live shows. No.
How about if I came down around Christmas time to the South End, Westcliff area? Is there likely to be anything you're going to be doing at that point in time?
Possibly do
Yeah?
it. Yeah.
Yeah?
If they decide to go and get on with it, they don't rehearse and stuff. It's just like, hey, you're playing down there, in the squeeze box. And it's a laugh. It's good music.
That sounds like a fun Christmas night out, I reckon. I think I'll have to head back down your direction and
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I'll bring you a packet of, bring you a packet of Jaffa cakes, some chocolate chip cookies, and some stinky cheese, and a glass of port. We'll be fine. That'll be a great night.
And don't forget the Munsters box set.
Oh, would I? Would I forget? Listen, I'm gonna stick you backstage for a minute while I say goodbye to everyone. But thank you so much for being on. I'm sorry we've kept you, it would appear, for an hour and 3/4. So we've drained a lot of your bank holiday weekend, but we really appreciate you coming on. You've been absolutely fabulous.
The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you, sir.
Peace
I will be
and love,
back.
everyone. Take care.
I will be back with you in a minute when I've said goodbye to everyone. Cheers, Roman. So that wraps it up for today, folks. Sorry, we've gone to an hour and 3/4 again. I do apologise, but with a guest like that, you just can't stop talking. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And we will be back on September the 25th. And we will have a Canadian band called Radio Obscura. I do apologise for your delight and delectation. So thanks again for watching Reignite, and see you on September 25th. Bye for now, folks.